I studied so hard for this exam. I labored. I toiled all night and day. I went for tutorials. I went through my JAMB syllabus. Why will JAMB give me this kind of result? That's probably the story of someone watching this video. But I have a good news for you. There is always a room for everyone. There is always a room for everyone. You probably must have written the UTME and the result is not what you expected. I mean, it's below your expectation. And you're wondering, and you are probably going for maybe a well sought after course, a very competitive course, and you're wondering, what am I going to do? How do I get in? This video is certainly for you. Hello, my name is Dr. Segatius. I'm a first year medical student of the University of Ibadan. I'm a graduate of biochemistry from University of Nigerian Institution, and I'm an educational consultant. On this channel, we talk about education, learning, and excellence. Right. So today's video, we're going to be talking about the steps you are going to take after your UTME. So the first thing you're supposed to do is to check your UTME results. I know this might sound somehow, but a lot of people are yet to check their results even after the exam. Right? Because some people, probably because of the technical issues they encountered during their exam, they are too reluctant to checking their result because they don't want to be too heartbroken. But the truth is that you have to check your result, because checking your results is what tells you the next thing to do. From there, you can now proceed to the next thing. You have to know your score first. After knowing your score, you can now know what next to do. So the first thing to do is to check your UTME result. All right. So after doing that, what next? Next thing is to wait for JAMB's policy meeting. I say this because JAMB's policy meeting is what unveils, number one, the general university cutoff marks, the general College of Education cutoff mark, and the general polytechnics cutoff marks. Right, the JAMB's policy meeting unveils this. Right, over the years, it has always been around 160 for universities, 140 for polytechnics, and I think 100 for colleges of education. Though there are some institutions that put a benchmark of 200. Institutions like University of Ibadan, institutions like Obafemi Awolowo University (OAU), institutions like University of Lagos (UNILAG), these three institutions at least, they don't go below 200. So any undergraduate of University of Ibadan, OAU, UNILAG that you know, just know that the person did not have anything below 200 in UTME. So what it means that this general cutoff mark is, I'm still going to explain it later anyway, later in this video. But what I'm saying in essence is you have to wait for the JAMB's policy meeting. There they will unveil the general cutoff marks, and then they will unveil the statistics of the performances of students in the 2026 UTME. All right. So the statistics is not going to tell you, okay, how well people performed or how poor people performed in the exam. From there, you can now know, you can now narrow your chances of admission, right, based on the performance of students. Okay, so now after you must have seen the general cutoff mark, next thing to do is to start making inquiry about your aspiring institution and course. All right, so I'm going to use a very, should I say, the most sought after course in Nigeria. Take for instance, you are a student aspiring to study medicine and surgery in, let's say, the University of Benin, Uniben. So what you have to do is, you first of all look out for that not every institution offers medicine, all right, and not every institution in Nigeria offers medicine. So I'm using medicine is a very popular course. There are some courses that you can't find in every university. Like courses like biomedical engineering, not every institution offers biomedical engineering. So if you are aspiring a particular course in a particular institution, you have to ascertain, you have to verify that one, the institution offers that particular course. Two, if you are someone that doesn't want to go too far, ascertain the proximity of your institution to your home. All right, you have to do some of this. And if you're someone that's not maybe that financially buoyant, you can also ascertain these fees, the school fees of that particular course in that particular institution, because fees vary according to institutions. So know the particular institution that suits your financial status or capability or capacity, as the case may be. All right, so these are some of the things you have to make inquiries about your institution and your course. Make these inquiries, make these findings, find out. All right, and maybe towards the end of this video, I'm going to drop, probably there's a community for different institutions and for different aspirants. We have a WhatsApp community for aspirants of different institutions, right? So if you are interested in joining the community, I'm going to drop a link in the description where you message me indicating the institution you are aspiring, and I'm going to send you the link to a particular institution. It's free of charge. Don't worry, you don't have to bother about that. All right. So that's by the way. All right. Next thing is, now that's what we call minimum cutoff mark. That is general cutoff mark, and that's what we call departmental cutoff mark. I mentioned earlier that the general cutoff mark is being released by JAMB, right? Though some institutions do take it higher, right? But the general cutoff mark is like a score you must have in your JAMB, in your UTME, before you can be qualified to even apply for a particular university. So if the general cutoff mark for a university is 200, for instance, it means even if you had 199 in UTM, you cannot apply for that particular university. That is the general cutoff mark. Now there is what we call departmental cutoff mark. The general cutoff mark is not what qualifies you for admission. Take note of that. The fact that they say the general cutoff mark is 200 or 160 doesn't mean that once you get up to 160 or once you get up to 200 or once you get up to 180, as the case may be, some institutions do take theirs to be 180. It varies, right? That's why I say you have to make some of these findings about your institution, which we can get some of these things in our group chat, WhatsApp group chat, right? So like I was saying, the departmental cutoff mark is what guarantees your admission, is what qualifies you for admission, not the general cutoff mark. The general cutoff mark of maybe 180, 200, 160, as the case may be, is not what qualifies for admission. Now, coming to the departmental cutoff mark, not all institutions release their departmental cutoff mark every year. Yes, there are institutions that make their departmental cutoff marks open. Departmental cutoff mark is like the individual score or aggregate. Yeah, we use the word aggregate. The individual aggregate score you must have for you to be qualified for admission. Now, the general cutoff mark is the UTME score you must have before you can apply for an institution. Why the departmental cutoff mark is the individual aggregate score, not UTME. I'm still going to explain how different institutions calculate their aggregate scores. It varies according to institutions. But I want you to know that the departmental cutoff mark is the individual aggregate score you must have to be qualified for a particular course in a particular institution. Now, the general cutoff mark is the same for all courses in the university, right? So if the university's general cutoff mark is 200, that means for you to apply for any course in that particular university, you must have up to 200. But now, when we come to the departmental cutoff mark, it varies according to departments. By departments, we mean the one you call course now. That's what we call departmental cutoff mark. So if you're aspiring to study medicine, pharmacy, radiography, electrical engineering, civil engineering, their individual departmental cutoff mark varies. It is never the same. They are different for different courses, that's different departments, right? And what usually sums up this departmental cutoff mark is actually based on the performance of students that year, right? It's based on the performance of students. So you have to know Because some people think that once they qualify for the general cut-off mark, once they meet up with the general cut-off mark, they are good to go. No, it doesn't end there. That's what we call departmental cut-off mark, right? I'll still talk about that a little, but let me move to the next point. Next point now is what we call post UTME, right? Now, the word post means like something done after something. So post UTME is something done after UTME. Yeah. So you have taken the UTME. Next thing is what? Post UTME. And when we say post UTME, people think is post UTME is just about exam. The word post UTME is simply something done after UTME. So post UTME can be done in two ways. Yeah, two basic ways, two general ways, and it varies according to institutions. Some institutions will have to conduct another exam for you, and this exam is usually CBT, right? Just like your UTME, and it's usually O level based, just like your UTME. It's more like another exam that looks that's very very similar to the UTME, right? But in this case, you will not have to write 400 questions like UTME. It varies according to institutions. Some institutions use 50 questions, some institutions 100 questions, some institutions 40 questions, some institutions 30 questions, some institutions 60 questions. Right? So it varies according to institutions. So they invite you to the institution. That is, if you've met the general cutoff mark, they will not invite you to write their exam. Right? This is like their post UTME. Right? Now that is for that category. There's another category that will not invite you to write exam, but they will use your O level result. Right? They use your O level result, and this particular category is for people that have very very good O level result. If your O level result is not very good, by very good I mean full of A's, then it's not usually advisable to go for this kind of institution, because and there's something you have to know. If you've known the pattern for which they calculate their aggregate scores, right? The different institutions have different patterns they calculate the aggregate scores. These are some of the things we discuss in our WhatsApp communities, right? Of different, that's why we have different groups for different institutions, because they have different modalities, all right? So institutions have different ways of calculating their aggregate. Now, if your institution is not writing an exam, is not conducting an exam, maybe they use only your UTME results and your O level results to calculate. Some people use both UTME, O level results, and they still conduct the exam. I think a typical example is Unilag, I think, right? So you have to know the modalities of your institution. Now, if your institution use only your UTME result and your O level result, then you have to be very very careful. In fact, you have to be careful in all cases actually. If your institution uses O level results and UTME result, then you have to be careful. Calculate it based on the previous years, based on the previous years, like at least last 2 3 4 years. Check if your aggregate for the year is not at least 5 points above the previous years, then it is most advisable that you change either your institution or your course. Right? It is most advisable that you change either your institution or your course if your aggregate is not at least 5 points above the previous course. It is usually advisable you change your course or your institution. If you are not someone that is bent on a particular course, then you can change course. But if you are someone that is bent on a particular course, then it's most advisable to change the institution. There are institutions that can still accept you if you do well in their post-UTM, that's in their exam. Do you understand? So you have to check these things. Because I'm saying, because left for me, if you ask me, I would say that institutions that conduct exam, in institutions that conduct exam, you have higher chances of gaining admission than the ones that do not. For instance, an institution like University of Nigeria and for instance, UNN, they've been using O level and UTME for the past 3 to 4 years now. Now, here you see that there are several 320 plus, 330 plus aspiring to study medicine and surgery that don't end up getting it. Yes, they don't end up getting it because of their O level result. Because their O level results are like, they are probably not strong enough. Do you understand? But invariably, you see people in institutions like Uniben, UI, getting admission with lower scores, even scores lower than 320, 330, because they prepared very well for post-TME and the post-TME boosted their aggregate scores. Do you understand? So these are some of the things you have to check. And if you are someone going for an institution that conducts exam, then you have to start preparing for your post-TME as soon as possible. Get the necessary materials. Different institutions have different modalities of prepare for, different institutions have different modalities for their post-TME. So you have to be sure that what you are doing is the right, your preparation is right for that particular institution. All right. Okay. So now that's what we call change of course as institution form. It usually comes out maybe shortly after JAMB's policy meeting. Right. This enables you to change your institution from one place to another. Yes, it doesn't end at JAMB registration. You can still change your institution, apply for change of institution if you discover that your UTME score cannot give you what you want in the initial institution you chose. You can change your institution to another institution that you feel can give you what you want, right? You can change from university to, but the important thing you have to know is that if you really want an institution to offer you admission, then you have to make that institution your first choice. All these second choice, third choice, fourth choice in UTME, they don't matter. Sorry to say that. Because in the actual sense, there are thousands of people applying for different institutions every year. Now imagine in a school where we have 10,000 students, okay, let me say 5,000 students or 2,000 students applying for a particular course in a particular university, and then these students all made the institution the first choice, and they need only, let's say, 200 students to be admitted out of 2,000. They need only 200 students. Do you think they will leave those 2,000 students that made them their first choice to attend to you that made them probably second or third choice? The answer is no. So they will first of all they cannot even attend to all the people that applied for the institution, not to talk of attending to you that made them second or third choice. So if you want an institution to offer you admission, then you must have to make them your first choice, right? That's something very important you have to know. And this is something that can be done. You can easily change your institution. Maybe if you initially made a particular institution your second choice, and that's actually the institution you wanted, you can change it, make it your first choice. It's always something workable, all right? Your course too, if you feel that you want to change your course, you can always do that afterwards. All right, it's something workable. Then afterwards, JAMB usually release their original JAMB result on the portal, which you have to pay about 1,500 naira or so, or just within that range, to print it out. This is one of the requirements that different institutions will ask of you if you're applying for their school. All right, so that's basically it about this video. So your UTME result is not the final say. There is another game changer known as the post-UTME. For instance, in my class, University of Ibadan, Department of Medicine and Surgery, 100 level, we are 315 in our class. 315 in our class, and out of the 315 of us, there is only one person that had 295. The rest had 300 and above. What does that tell you? It tells you that even with your UTME score that you feel is low, you can still do well. You can still be admitted into that your dream institution by doing very well in post-TME. Now, do you know the irony of it? The irony of it is that the last person on the list, that is when you are going in descending order of aggregate scores, the last person had 351 in UTME, 351. The 315th person on the list had 351 in UTME. But post-TME, the person could not do well. That well. The person got the exact cutoff mark, right? In post-TME. What does that tell you? It tells you that it doesn't end at UTME. You might see somebody with 360 something, 350 something, and maybe you have 310, 305, and you are thinking that that person is way better, that person has higher chances of gaining admission than you. It might be true in a way, but it's not entirely true. It might be true in the sense that the person obviously has higher UTME score than you, but then does it end there? What if what if in post UTME you do better than the person? Or what if maybe if the school is using O level, what if your O level is way better than the person's O level result? Do you understand? So it doesn't end at UTM. These are some of the things you have to check. So we have a post UTME webinar coming up very soon. uh, the flyer will be displayed on your screen just after this video, and the link to the webinar will also be dropped on the description. So make sure you join. So long as you are a 2026 UTME aspirant, make sure you join. A lot of speakers from different institutions, speakers from Uniben, speakers from Unilag, speakers from Unical, OA, they will be coming. Uniport, right? Different speakers from different institutions will be coming to address you on the modalities of post UTME, and this is something you won't want. This is something you have to get free of charge from us, right? This is something we do for students, just to assist students, and make sure you don't miss it for any reason. And peradventure you have any question regarding your institution, regarding how to prepare for your institution's post UTME, you can always do that in the group chat, or you can do that, ask in the comment section, or you can get my contact from the screen, all right, and I'll always attend to you. All right, so our post UTME classes will also be coming up very soon, very soon, and it's something we plan on making it really big, especially for students coming to my institution, University of Ibadan. I've made it a point of duty that we're going to produce a lot of high scorers this year. This is not something that is done with mouth, right? It's something that we are working towards. We are not in a haste because we want to bring out the best of students that are applying to study medicine and surgery, pharmacy, any science related course in the University of Ibadan, right? So long as your score is fair enough, then there is hope for you. So if you are still confused on anything, you are free to always message me. Send me a message on WhatsApp and I'll reply you. Okay? So thank you for watching. Do well to share with your friends that need this video. Share with all your UTME friends, all your aspirants, fellow aspirants. Let them gain from this video, and stay tuned for me. We are going to be dropping a lot of educational content, all right? From now, we're going to drop in a lot of educational content that will aid your preparation. Okay, thank you very much. Bye for now.